The purpose of the present research was to gain a more detailed and clear understanding of the marketing and pricing practices utilized in the ruby trade and the colored gemstone markets of the USA and Europe. This is of significance as the European and US gemstone trade markets are the greatest consumers of ruby gemstones worldwide. The Tucson Gem and Mineral Show is reportedly the largest colored gem trade show in the world, which spans a 20-day period and plays host to 45 individual venues that feature exhibits for the wholesale and retail trading of gemstones and minerals. The merchandise offered for sale at each venue targets a different consumer group, ranging from expensive, fine quality finished goods to more affordable, lower commercial quality ruby rough. A large variety of rubies are offered for sale, ranging from synthetics to different forms of natural or treated ruby, including rough, tumbled, and faceted stones and cabochons. Gemstone dealers from around the world who trade in rubies and a large variety of other gems, minerals, and fossils attend this show. The subject matter expert team, also known as the SME team, visited as many venues as possible over the course of the 2017 Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. This was done in order to obtain a representative sampling of ruby market practices and to interact with and obtain relevant information from numerous different ruby merchants. The venues differed in scope and size and offered much insight into the current US and European ruby trade. On January 30th, the SME team visited the Pueblo venue, which was comprised of numerous different exhibits. Ruby rough from various different sources, as well as finished and natural and synthetic stones, were being exhibited. It was noted that all gemstone merchants sold a variety of different species of gemstones, and no vendor focused exclusively on the sale of rubies. The asking and listed price of all ruby products investigated was up for discussion and negotiation with vendors. One vendor stressed that there is a strong demand for top quality rubies, and as a result, he did not have any in stock. Furthermore, when questioned, the vendor responded that he was not familiar with the name Gemfields. On January 31st, the SME team visited the American Gem Trade Association, also known as the AGTA venue, which is considered to be the main venue of the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. At the AGTA, mainly higher quality finished rubies are on display, and it is unusual for ruby rough to be found. Participants and visitors are required to be registered with the AGTA prior to entry. At the Omi jewelry booth of the AGTA venue, it was observed that more treated rubies were being offered for sale than untreated rubies. Larger stones made up most of their inventory, as their customer base prefers larger sizes. It was also noted that meli was mainly being used in rings as accent stones. It was discussed with the SME team that a solid ruby market currently exists. Omi stated that colored engagement rings are in fashion, especially amongst millennials, and that colored meli is also currently in style for jewelry. Treatment and cutting of gemstones is routinely done in Bangkok and Sri Lanka. However, many jewelers at this event, such as Omi Jewelry, do not treat their own gemstones. Instead, they receive an already treated stone from their partners working with Gemfields. At another exhibitor's booth, Gemfield stock of Mozambique rubies were being sold. It was discussed that sizes below 3 carats are easy to sell and are currently in high demand, including cabochons and meli, and that they are not eager to sell larger stones above 5 carats. Approximately 50% of high-end rubies are not from Gemfields. Most of their inventory from Gemfields is of smaller sizes and commercial quality. It was noted that darker Mozambique rubies are more difficult to sell than Burmese rubies. 90% of the rubies that the vendor sells are untreated, and their main customers are located in China and Hong Kong. The vendor commented that the Mozambique rubies do not heat well because they are low in iron, but treatment with borax can be readily performed. The dealer stressed that the majority of Mozambique rubies require heating to improve the color. According to the vendor, they are the largest ruby buyer for Gemfields, particularly because the availability is good. The vendor mentioned that he saw a need for improvement regarding Gemfield's marketing. It is targeted towards dealers and buyers, not the retail consumers. Furthermore, it was discussed that dealers and retailers alike must compete for parcels at Gemfield's auctions, resulting in unbalanced profit margins. According to the vendor, Gemfields is still currently learning about and testing the market, especially with regards to the pricing of merchandise. It was also noted that education from Gemfields regarding treatments, etc., would be greatly appreciated. Finally, the dealer commented that auctions in Asia are preferred as they are more easily accessible. Another exhibitor at the venue sold mostly heated Mozambique rubies, and it was mentioned that they sell quite well. It was also mentioned that most customers do not mind heat treatment as they're more interested in the beauty of the stone and not its treatment. This particular vendor stated that he purchases his gemstones in Thailand. However, he would be interested in purchasing Mozambique rubies from other sources. One vendor stated that the demand for untreated and more unique rubies is consistently increasing, as is the demand for ruby melly. In line with that opinion, a couple of vendors commented that it is becoming easier to sell smaller stones as the prices for rubies are increasing. The SME team next researched the G&L Holodome. The venue, which did not require pre-registration, was situated on a sports arena parking area. Many large commercial tents were used to cover and house the exhibits, and a large selection of stones, gems, fossils, and minerals were displayed for trading. Treated and non-treated ruby rough, as well as finished ruby gemstones, were being offered for sale. Many dealers were not familiar with the exact origin of their rubies and unaware of the types of treatments that they had received. Prices varied greatly between traders' ruby supplies. On February 1st, the SME team visited another 5 venues, which consisted of the Gem and Jewelry Exchange, the International Gem and Jewelry Show, the Tucson New Mineral Show, Jog's Gem and Jewelry Show, and finally, the Madagascar Gem Show. Each of these venues varied in location within Tucson, as well as the quality of gemstones and minerals being offered for sale. Thus, a range of different qualities of rubies were observed at the various shows, and the marketing at each show was based on the clientele attending. At the JGX show, untreated rubies from Afghanistan could be found, alongside heat-treated and glass-filled Mozambique rubies. Customers could also find Burmese rubies, glass-filled and no-heat Mozambique rubies, and more. Ruby jewelry was also found in abundance. Multiple vendors at the show sold rubies purchased from Gemfields. At one vendor, heated Mozambique rubies were for sale. The owner purchased his rough at Gemfield's auctions and treated the stones in Bangkok. He mentioned that he didn't agree with Gemfield's pricing strategy, which doesn't use an open minimum bid price. He also stated that his relationship with Gemfields is businesslike and not very personal. Another vendor selling unheated rubies from Mozambique mentioned that the heated stones are mainly sold to American and European customers, and the unheated stones to Asian customers. He stressed that the unheated stones required gemological certification. He also commented that Americans are typically more interested in the fluorescence of rubies, whereas Asians are focused on the color only. It was mentioned that 1 to 2 carat stones are in high demand and are regularly ordered by his customers. Regarding Gemfields, the dealer stated that he wished the company would release more 1 to 2 carat stones. He was under the impression that Gemfields was controlling their release. He also mentioned that he usually sees the same customers return to the Gemfields auctions each year, as there are no other options. At the JOG show, pre-registration was required to enter, and each attendee was required to produce gem or mineral business affiliation credentials for registration. At the first vendor, treated rubies and cabajans reportedly from Africa and Thailand were listed for sale. Another exhibitor was offering faceted treated ruby reported to originate from Thailand and India and cabajans. The exhibitors mentioned that they do business with Gemfields, however, they didn't want to discuss the pricing involved and stated that they would prefer not to purchase rubies from Gemfields. Several vendors reported that they would be interested in opening trade discussions with another ruby supplier. It was noted that many dealers within the U.S. are using cargo transportation to deliver their product line into the U.S. This form of transportation has little effect on the listed prices published. It was noticed during the show that rubies with GIA certificates were remarkably more expensive. The next venue to be visited was the International Gem and Jewelry Show, which yielded a couple of ruby selling exhibitors, but nothing of significance. Following the International Gem and Jewelry Show, the SME team visited the Tucson New Mineral Show, which is particularly designed for customers interested in gems and minerals in specimen form. At these types of venues, most rubies that are offered for sale are not of gem quality. However, the prices of such commonly traded specimen can be greater per carat than that of finished gem quality stones. Only a few ruby products were seen at this venue by the SME team, but exhibitors expressed an interest in obtaining ruby gemstones that would be unique for specimen trading. The Madagascar Gem and Jewelry Show was the next venue visited. As this venue focused mainly on rough stones, rocks, and fossils, only a limited number of faceted or rough ruby stones were seen. Of those that were seen, most were of lower commercial quality, and the vendors did not seem very informed of potential treatments the stones could have undergone. The pricing also varied considerably, and some vendors were overcharging customers for ruby jewelry. On February 3rd, 6 other venues were researched by the SME team, including the JG&M, the Rapa River Gem and Mineral Show, the Keno Gem and Mineral / The Rock Show, the Arizona Independent Warehouse Show, SRGJ, and JIGM shows. The ruby products displayed at JG&M were limited to bead products of low quality, treated and cut in India and sold mostly in Asian markets. It was mentioned that the millennial customer base has expressed an interest in dealing in these lower gem quality ruby beads. The next venue visited was the Arizona Independent Warehouse Show, which remains open year-round. Its main customer base are dealers interested mostly in specimen trading, termed rockhounds. Most of the ruby products investigated at this venue were purchased from India as treated and cut stones. Faceted ruby melli, very purplish and lower in quality, of different shapes were also on display. The main market for these rubies was reported to be in India. It was noted by the vendor that customers are not interested in treatments or the processes that are involved for rubies to travel from the mine to the marketplace. The SRGJ show was another venue visited and open to the public, which showcased a wide variety of different gems and minerals. One vendor's main customers are U.S. Americans interested in spiritualism and New Age. These customers prefer to carry tumbled ruby stones in their pockets for spiritual and healing purposes. The owner commented that the main market might be shifting since online shopping is increasing in popularity. The SME team then visited the JIGM, a venue that carries a wide variety of mainly rough material and some faceted stones. Not many rubies were seen. Only 3 venues were noted to sell rubies, and those venues sold either low-quality ruby rough, glass-filled, or heat-treated rubies. No high-quality untreated rubies were seen.
And white gold. And diamonds. And diamond. You want a price? Yeah, sure.
On February 4th, the SME team researched 4 additional venues, some of which were known to not focus on their ruby trade. These venues were investigated to gain a sense of the potential desire for dealers to acquire ruby products for their particular trade. The venues visited included the Tucson store, 22nd Street Mineral, the Fossil and Gem Show, and the Madagascar Gem and Mineral Show. Not one of these venues required visitor registration. At the 22nd Street Mineral Show, one of the first exhibitors displayed a sign advertising ethically mined stones from the USA. When questioned, the dealer explained that the issue of ethically sourced gemstones is becoming increasingly important in the consumer market. Another dealer mentioned that his customers prefer treated stones because of their good value and color. The SME team then traveled to visit the Madagascar Minerals Gem Show, which is a facility sourced solely from those mines managed by the same business that oversees the Madagascar Minerals Gem Distribution Center, which is open year-round. 7 separate mine sites are reportedly used to supply the distribution center in Tucson. At the venue, low-quality ruby rough was being sold. The main customers for these goods were from China and Japan. The owners mentioned that ruby export to Canada has also increased. They also stated that some customers purchase low-quality ruby rough to experiment with or to use as rough natural ruby in jewelry. It was noted that customers, especially regular ones, are interested in ethical mining. Informing customers on the principles and methodology behind production of materials can build trust between the company and its customers. February 6th, the SME team conducted research at 7 other Tucson Gem and Mineral Show venues, including the American Indian Expo, the Oracle Show, Mineral and Fossil Co-op, Arizona Mineral and Fossil Market, Mineral and Fossil Shows, the Jewelry Tunnel, Main Avenue Gem Show, the Westward Look Show, and the Oracle Just Mineral event. Not all of these events traded in ruby products. One of the first vendors seen to sell ruby on that day was selling large, lower quality, flat, rough, hexagonal ruby crystals, which were purchased in India. The SME team moved on to the Westward Look show. The vendors focused on one-of-a-kind expensive mineral specimens there. The team observed several ruby specimens in matrix from various countries of origin, including Afghanistan, Burma, Vietnam, Mozambique, Norway, and Macedonia. The specimens were of cabochon quality and ranged in sizes between approximately 2 to 5 centimeters. On February 7th, the SME team investigated another 5 venues organized by the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, including the Miners Co-op, Tucson Showplace, the African Art Village, and JIGM, both the Howard Johnson and Quality Inn venues. The majority of the venues, except for the African Art Village, had ruby products on display. At the first venue, the Miners Co-op, seniors appeared to be a large customer base. One owner mentioned that not all customers like working with rubies due to their hardness. Many prefer to work with or cut stones that are a maximum of 7 on the hardness scale. However, he also mentioned that ruby rough may sell well with customers who create more lapidary types of jewelry or artists who produce gemstone artwork. He expressed interest in viewing and potentially buying some of the ruby rough from Mustang Resources. Another owner stated that he would be interested in viewing some of Mustang's rough, particularly the low-grade, leftover material as he called it. He suggested to the team to target the metaphysical community with the rough, as they do not place importance on the quality of rubies. Instead, they are mainly interested in their healing properties. He also suggested that the rubies may sell well as tumbled stones. The second venue that was visited that day was the JIGM, near the Quality Inn and Howard Johnson. Ruby of all conditions, sizes, and prices were to be found. Several owners commented that they would be interested in viewing and potentially purchasing the rough from Mustang Resources. On February 8th, 6 additional venues were visited by the SME team, including Granada Mineral and Fossil Show, Granada Arizona Mineral and Fossil Show, Granada Show Gallery and Art Gallery, Fine Mineral Show, Arizona Mineral and Fossil Show, and the Tucson/Lazy Days KOA Gem and Craft Show. The venues were close in proximity to one another and featured similar products. No rubies were observed at the Tucson/Lazy Days KOA Gem and Craft Show. The first stop was the Arizona Mineral and Fossil Show, where low to mid-bead quality long spindle ruby specimens, untreated low-quality Tanzanian ruby rough, low-grade African ruby cabochon, untreated low-quality Madagascar ruby rough and matrix, ruby bead necklaces from Madagascar could all be found. At Granada Mineral Show, unheated low-quality ruby rough from South India and hexagonal form was being sold, as well as tumbled ruby rough and low-quality ruby star cabochons. More vendors stated that they would potentially be interested in viewing and purchasing rough from Mustang Resources. On February 9th, the final venue visited by the entire SME team was the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, which is considered one of the main events of the entire show. This was a very large venue featuring a variety of artisans, jewelers, and gemstone and mineral traders. Throughout the booths, a variety of rubies could be found, including smaller rubies from Burma, glass-filled rubies from Madagascar that were set in sterling silver and 14-karat gold jewelry, lower quality ruby cabochon, hexagonal ruby crystal and pyrite matrix from Pakistan, heated rubies from Thailand, large cabochon quality ruby from Pakistan in matrix, and more. A huge potential exists within the US and European ruby market. There are many avenues by which access to these markets can be gained through the sale of a broad variety of ruby material, ranging from lower quality ruby through upper fine quality faceted gemstones. The existing market that targets consumers who desire more traditional ruby specimens is greatly unserved. Thus, the accumulation and sale of lower gem quality ruby specimens has the potential to be a very lucrative business. There is also a major market in both the US and Europe for very low-grade ruby products. Many consumers, not readily recognized as gem and mineral professionals, actually make their living by trading in very low-quality gem and mineral products. One sale and marketing concept for lower quality rubies already exists for the US market via the regular gem and mineral shows that take place on a monthly basis throughout most states within the US. There are also numerous gem and mineral shows that occur regularly in Europe. The most popular shows take place in countries such as Germany, Italy, and Russia, just to mention a few. However, the European shows do not match the US in terms of size and popularity, but the pricing index at European shows is greater compared to that in the US. It is known that higher quality ruby traders are subject to a variety of standards and regulations on reporting of treatments and origins of the ruby products being traded. As a result, the effects of what are perceived as unethical mine-to-market practices do not appear to be frequently discussed in public or questioned by consumers. However, in the marketing practices executed by high-quality ruby traders, there is a requirement to know and report on such regulations. This is particularly true as the consumer base in the US and Europe is becoming more informed of worldwide colored stone mining practices, especially through the media. Interestingly, the consumer base that is interested in lower commercial quality ruby products more openly communicates the concerns surrounding ethically mined minerals. This is true in both the US and European markets. This is important as dealers focused on low-quality rubies are the largest consumers of ruby products on the market. Gemstone dealers also have an inherent desire to learn and be able to report on the information related to the mine-to-market processes for the gemstones and minerals they are selling. Thus, information and education offered by gemstone mining companies on such practices can help to inform and build a trusting relationship with consumers. It's recommended that Mustang Resources engage in an increase of their ruby production stock, as many gemstone dealers interviewed at the Tucson Gem Show venues expressed a great desire to work with a new ruby supplier. At the time of interviewing, numerous vendors even showed a desire to inspect available ruby material from Mustang Resources. This recommendation will allow Mustang to be a regular source supplier with different traders that deal in varying qualities and quantities of ruby product. There is also a high market value placed exclusively on ruby products not subjected to any treatments. Thus, it is essential that the mine production at Mustang Resources be categorized into different parcel lots on site to determine the different types of rough that are available. This will allow Mustang to develop targeted marketing strategies for each grade of rough so that customers desiring a variety of different ruby products can be served. Establishing Mustang Resources ruby mining operations as a one-stop shop for ruby traders by offering a variety of different ruby products is strongly recommended. This could be accomplished by executing different agreements with Asian, US, and European gemstone production professionals, as well as developing stock exchanges that can serve the US and European markets. Not all practices need to be executed immediately to increase Mustang's product value. There are other effective practices that are more readily executable in the near future that will serve to move Mustang's product forward. The first and most simple ones to execute are the generation of product supply, the engagement in US and European gem and mineral show participation planning, and the development of gemstone production agreements with organizations that offer a variety of services such as treatment, cutting, and distribution of stones. It is also suggested that distribution centers for gemstone supplies managed directly by Mustang Resources be developed, and that the primary location of these centers be determined. To ensure a smooth transition into the global ruby market, a primary focus should also be the development and execution of a marketing and sales plan and brand strategy to establish product advocacy. A carefully developed strategy and execution plan are essential. Reconsidering marketing and brand strategies once initiated can be highly unproductive and costly.